Hello, everybody.
Day number 50 in quarantine. Can you believe it, Dave?
I can indeed. You know how I know? Because I've been watching your hair grow every single day for those entire 50. And it's looking good. You've got this kind of rockabilly thing going on now, which is wonderful. I remember a group in the 80s called the Stray Cats. And they used to play big basses and the rockabilly guys. And we used to have like this kiss curl like Grease. And you've got that kind of thing going on, which suits you. So that's very cool.
Yeah, I look like Christopher Reeve as Clark Kent.
And Superman.
Oh my God.
Not sure if that's true. I think a lot of female people would say that's probably not quite true. But I know exactly where you're coming from. And you do look good. I do like it a lot. So I'm going to give you that. Well, so how's your day been so far? You've only been up for about 2 hours anyway.
That is correct. This has been a weird realization that this world has changed.
Already?
Yeah, I mean, I want to actually show you what's going on in LA. I mean, this is just incredible. The 1st of May, it was Friday, they lifted the government a mandatory lockdown here in the United States. And right now, even though that it's not completely open, I mean, for everybody, people are going crazy. So my wife has been talking about going to the beach already for a while, and I said, well, right now they have just lifted the lockdown. I am afraid that there's going to be a lot of people just basically going there and doing all sorts of things. So I think might be a better idea to go during the week so that there's actually less people. And she said, well, I don't think so. I think people are responsible, and I don't think that it's going to be that bad at all. And this is Huntington Beach in California, in LA. Look at it right now.
That's just incredible. It's like nobody learns a single lesson from the last 2 months. But if you don't do social distancing, if you don't wear your masks, and you don't be very wary as other people might catch stuff or give stuff to you, then you will get it. I mean, that's been an unknown law. Well, just a law. That's just the way it's been. So quite clearly, people have confused with it's okay to go out with the viruses. It's like Ding Dong, the witch is dead from The Wizard of Oz. It's like the coronavirus is dead.
It's really absolutely insane. And I mean, right now, so basically what happened was that my wife left the house, drove, let's say, from here to the beach. For me, it's about 90-minute drive. So let's say it's about 60 miles, about 100 kilometers. And I mean, the place was full. The roads are full. Everybody went out like crazy. Yesterday, there were people having parties. I mean, I understand that this is now being sort of lifted, the lockdown, but it's not over yet, for crying out loud. This is just insane. We have to be careful. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I cannot even begin to describe how I felt. Now, that's one of the things that I've noticed. And the other thing that I noticed just in the 2 hours that I've been awake is that people are becoming jerks again.
Don't say that when I'm drinking.
Oh my God! It's just
in what
really
way?
Something.
In what way?
Well, I mean, I think in a way we're actually being very nice to this pigeon, because this pigeon was very depressed because she was missing, or he was missing, people to shit on their heads, and right now I think it's gonna go back.
The job's been taken by people again. So what we're saying then is people who became really humble and became really thankful and empathetic about the world have just gone from, I don't know what's going on, but let's be one world, to suddenly becoming wacky races. Let's run for the finishing line. There's money out there. Let's go get it. And they're treading on people, or they're going, let's party. Let's just go back to where we were 2 months ago. But nothing's happened. There's no vaccine. Don't get me wrong. If there's a vaccine that was created and everyone had taken it, I'd be like, yeah, go knock yourself out. But nothing has changed. Apart from we've had 2 months of evidence that if you catch it, there's a very good chance things go south very quickly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the craziness. So that's my 2 hours of being awake.
Wow. Go back to bed. Forget this show. Go back to whatever your dream was. You might be in a dream. That could be it. You know, but you come back out and the quarantine never happened and everything was wonderful.
That is correct.
But unfortunately, this is something we talked about, and we're probably going to talk about from the questions we had yesterday about, do we think that people have made a decision too quickly? And quite clearly, it would only work if people stayed responsible at social distancing, wore their masks, wore their gloves, and respected each other's space, realizing that anybody that they meet could be live with an infected. I mean, I was reading an article the other day about the fact, and I'm guilty of this as well, you should not be going out wearing one pair of gloves. You should put on a different pair of gloves every time you touch something new. So when you go shopping, you wear one set of gloves. When you get out of a shopping center, you throw the gloves in the bin, put another set of gloves on, go to your car, open up the boot, put the stuff in the car. So literally you don't pass on the virus. Now, what I've been doing is putting on the gloves, going out, going shopping, coming back, going home, throwing them in the bin. But if you're carrying something, you're carrying it all the way to your front door and in your house anyway. So I understand why that might be a mistake, but going bonkers is not great. You look really depressed, Ernesto. I hate seeing you.
I was just trying to see what was going on here because that's another interesting thing that I wanted to make sure that we actually did. Yesterday we got 99 shares on this video. So if you're actually watching this video right now, help us cross the 100 shares. So share this episode of the Toilet Paper Diaries, which of course is going to be very interesting. This is our Disruptor Clinic that we do normally on the weekends. Share it with your friends, share it in your groups. Help us cross the 99 shares. We are right now getting about 700 and 750 viewers per day right now. It's still building, and that's what I was just checking. So I'm very happy just to see how many people are actually tuning in to watch us on a daily basis. So
my good friend MJ Tolan, Mike, has just said that he went into a shop today with 20 customers and he was the only person apart from the staff wearing a mask. And well, there you go. It just goes to show that people have just gone, right, it's all gone away. We're fine. Let's carry on with the same game. And it hasn't gone away. There's not a single shred of evidence to prove it's gone away. So yeah. I get very worried when I see that happening, but well done sharing it for Mike as well. And also stay safe, mate. That's it. Very important.
Yeah. So shall we get started with our questions? Because there's so many things here too. I mean, it's just insane just to see all these things which are happening. But today we are answering questions and we should get started with the questions. So Dave, you start. You select. Okay. We have a ton of them, so you select.
All right. First question. Kenneth from Ras Al Khaimah in the UAE, that's close to home, starts us off with, you mentioned joint ventures in one of your leverage shows last week, which is true. We talked about a lot of different things. What kind of partnerships do you think people will be looking for? Oh, joint ventures. Okay, well, joint ventures, Kenneth, could be about anything. You can, if you've got a need that somebody has and you can connect somebody with money or resources and somebody with expertise who can get it all sorted out for the person with a need, you can do a joint venture because you broker it and you can demand maybe 5%, 20%, whatever the deal will be for getting this thing to happen. I think the big joint ventures are going to be between tech companies who are app developers and bricks and mortar companies who have no real tech behind what they do. So somebody will come up with some kind of app that will just fit in for a delivery service or a fashion dressing service or something like that. So many cases, it will be a white label that will work best in that case. Something with a switchboard model where you add something in at one end and it connects you with other things at the other end. One of the ones that was most interesting was the one we talked about at length, which was Airbnb. Coming up with experiences for people. That's the one I love, probably above all the different things that people have reinvented. So we know they're not going to have people staying in B&Bs. They're not going to have people staying and traveling the way that they did before. They will still, but they're adapting to allow people to stay longer as part of their quarantine, even though I think that's going to go out the window now, unfortunately. But then they started connecting with people who they knew were doing interesting things and saying for £25 or $25, you can get somebody to go around Chernobyl looking at all the dogs because there's masses of dogs in Chernobyl. Or you can get somebody to go on a safari and you can have a look at it and they'll have their phone. So they'll do it on Zoom. So there's a lot of people doing Zoom experiences. I think that out of the box thinking is something that's going to be very interesting for joint ventures. But the sky's the limit. I'm always surprised by what new people come up with. What about you, Ernesto? Anything you can think of?
Yeah, well, I think right now there's we have discovered by doing the show, we have discovered some really great people to work with. A lot of people which are very supportive to us. A lot of people which are, as we were saying in the other side, jerks. And I believe very strongly that the best thing to do whenever I think joint ventures work is when both definitely see a win-win scenario. So I think here, I mean, I think there's still time for everybody to find out people that you can work with in joint ventures. But the most important thing is always look for the win-win scenario. And if people respond with a jerkish answer or they don't see the incredible value that you can provide, you know what? Let them drink bleach.
Tell them to kiss it. That's the nicest we get on the show. We never say really bad words. Well, Ernesto sometimes does, but we bleep him out because he can't stop himself. And in Spanish, I'm sure they're much cleaner. I think what you'll see, just in addition to that whole point about
the Latino in me,
I'm sure there has been. In terms of the joint ventures, I think what you will find for many people is it won't be that they do a joint venture, they'll just start employing staff that do things that they've never had before. So they'll have somebody working for them who does websites because they never really had somebody on the books, or they'll have somebody in different territories around the world designing this or going in and doing sales for that. So you might have little mini joint ventures being done, not the same classic, joint venture partnership, but people will be branching out and doing things that they've never done before to reinvent their brand and bringing people on as freelancers or bring them on as full-time staff because they're just reinventing from that. That's what I think. Ernesto, are you falling asleep there?
No. I am just checking. I mean, these people sharing. You know what? Normally, for some reason, I can actually check these on the computer. For some reason, I don't have the public chat, so I'm basically seeing here all the comments from people. That's what I'm doing. So sorry, I am paying attention to what you're saying, but I'm also seeing all the comments that people are having here.
It's okay. I was watching those terrible videos you sent me earlier, and I can't believe you haven't gone blind by now. But Ernesto, shame on you. No, mine hasn't been showing up earlier. So do you want to go into another question?
Yes, let's go all the way to Lagos, Nigeria, with our friend Mike that asks, should I be building house-to-house delivery into a new business model? I look at instead of renting a premises and expecting people to come to me. I am a wedding planner and I am completely stumped to where this industry is going next. So now this is the magic of the internet. And this is the magic of the toilet paper diary. So right now we are connecting with Mike, which is a wedding planner in Nigeria. He's asking us if he actually should change his model to a house-to-house delivery. Mike, great question, but I have no. I will basically need to digest a little bit better your question. Dave, do you have any answers first?
I'm just wondering if it's house-to-house delivery. What's he doing? Delivering wives? How many people buy a wife? Is that what it is? So he does is a wedding planner. So normally it would be that he'd organize stuff to happen at a premises, but I think he's talking about his office. So his office would be people would go in and see a wedding planner. They'd have a chat and then they'd organize going to the church or going to the hotel or wherever they decide to do it. What he's saying is, if I don't need a premises because people aren't going to be doing that anymore, should I be looking to do it online? And when it comes to delivering like bouquets and stuff like that, should I have a delivery service that takes it? Now, I think he's gone a few steps ahead and he's working on the idea of a virtual wedding, which is a few steps beyond what people would want. But it's actually exactly. So I think I think he's got a smart jump in the fact that if people are getting married during lockdown, which people are doing, and the lockdown is lifting in many places, but some people can't wait, so they're just getting married anyway. What can you deliver? And I think it's a smart move to get logistics side to what you do, to let them have whatever they want. So both of them get half a cake, and both of them get the clothes that they need to dress up, and maybe you get everybody on Zoom to sing, Here Comes the Bride or whatever it is on different screens. I don't know. I'm not enough into the wedding planner industry to have a look at it, but I guarantee that right now there's a ton of wedding planners who can't organize the events, who are saying, what can we do for the people that we want to get married? I think we'll also be looking at different spin-offs from it, like even the pre-marriage bit. Maybe you get involved in a Tinder type relationship build, because that's an online digital model. But it'll be interesting to see where that comes from, because certainly everybody involved in weddings can't do it. The venues can't do it. Photographers can't do it. My wife's a wedding photographer. Gigs stopped a long time ago because you couldn't have gatherings of people with good reason. Yeah. So I can't really help you with that, Mike.
It's interesting. It's interesting that we're actually getting some comments from Nigeria, because we've been talking about Europe, we've been talking about Australia, we've been talking about Asia, we've been talking about the United States, the Middle East, but we haven't heard. I mean, in these 50, 60 days that we have been here, I have hardly heard anything about Africa.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of worrying, because the things that I saw about Africa was saying that they hadn't got much to say about, it becoming a pandemic. But they were saying, is that because there's not enough testing going on? Is that because they already have enough things to deal with before that comes around? Is it because the governments won't come clean and tell people what the deal is? Because I saw some horrific situations where you had villages where there were basically like townships where people were arriving with not enough water, so you can't wash your hands. There weren't enough masks, not enough rubber gloves to go around. Social distancing can't happen when you're living next to each other. And so there's no way that when somebody catches it, it's not going to spread like wildfire. I think we may have I think the World Health Organization was saying that we could end up with 1 billion people who have been infected by the coronavirus, because the West didn't take care of all the different countries that needed to have aid. The West was too busy going, let's get out of this and let's save our money, than saying, hold on, this is a problem. We have to look at the weak chain in the link and plug all the holes to make sure that we clean it completely. Otherwise it festers and it will wipe out countries, because they won't have the ability to get the ventilators and all the rest of it. So I would say, Mike, right now, stay safe, first of all. And yes, do consider, a house-to-house delivery service. If it keeps everybody safe and everyone's responsible, then that's a smart way to move forward. It might be a smart way to move forward anyway.
Yeah, great advice, Dave. And of course, if you are in Africa, we would love to know where it is. I mean, if you're right now, I know that Mike Adetunji is in Nigeria. But if you're in South Africa or you're in Egypt or wherever you are, I mean, we would really love to find out what's going on in Africa, because nobody tells us anything about Africa, and that's very weird. Anyway, you want to pick a question, Dave, or shall I do it?
Yeah, okay, I'll take this one. Stefan from Kansas is saying, if we're now entering a global and completely digital world, with this in mind, how should I recruit new staff? Which country should I choose to get them from? And are there websites already available for this kind of online staff for recruitment? Interesting. I mean, you and I, Ernesto, we've been employing staff overseas from the Philippines doing websites and stuff for 10 plus years. So it's not a new thing. My daughter's just about to say goodnight. There we go.
Nice, sweetie.
Give a little wave.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Sleep well. So we've been doing it for a long time, because we have some really smart people who are able to do websites, and it is cost effective to be able to have somebody who you don't have to worry about their rent, you don't have to worry about their day-to-day of being in a bad mood or a good mood. You just pay them a fee at the end of the month. They do the job for you. You don't have to become any closer than that, but you have a business relationship, which works very well. So I think what you're going to find is this has evolved to go to a lot of Eastern Europe as well. A lot in India, Pakistan. If you go to websites like Fiverr or Freelancer, there are a number of different freelancers available who do anything for you, literally from graphic design to creating websites to recording videos and all sorts of stuff, mainly digital stuff for you. So I think that that's only going to grow. I think you'll end up with the likes of monster.com and Bait and all the rest of the traditional employment websites having to reinvent themselves to start taking on foreign people, because people won't need to come to your country to be able to work for you. And why would you want to? It's going to be much more cost effective to have them stay in their own house, doing what they do, but just create this digital model for you online where you can sell your stuff around the world. So I don't know if that really helps. What would you say, Ernesto?
Yeah, well, Stefan, I think your question is loaded, because it has a lot of different ways of actually being perceived. I mean, right now, if you're saying, well, recruit new staff, I think, first of all, you're in a very lucky position that you can actually provide employment. Because, of course, a lot of people are really not in the position of providing employment. So one of the things that you need to take into consideration is look around in your community and try to see how you can help there in the community. Because what Dave was actually mentioning, and I think he's correct. I mean, it's virtual staff or virtual assistants and people which are calling virtual. But so my question to you is: are you actually thinking of virtual staff that are going to be doing some chores for you and some stuff for you, or actually thinking of employing someone full time? So that is basically the question that you need to do. Right now, there's a ton of people that are unemployed, and there will be many opportunities. Look in LinkedIn, look in everywhere. Try to help as much as possible the community. If you're in that position of actually hiring people, I think it's fantastic, and you should first. That's my point of consideration. First, look for your people in your community, and if you're actually looking for full-time staff. However, if you are looking for virtual assistants, our friend Rihanna Lawala is now starting a service where you can actually hire web designers and all sorts of things for, I think it's $100 a month, which is a bargain.
Wow.
Amid the COVID-19 in the Philippines right now, I'm sure that there's also a ton of people that you can hire in India, in Eastern Europe. So it depends on what you're basically looking for. But I suggest, if you are actually looking for full-time employees and you are in that position of hiring people, go into your community first.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with you, and the moral choice should be to look after people in your community, but it might not be the financially smart choice. It depends on the business you're in. Stefan, I can't see which business you're in. He hasn't said, but certainly bricks and mortar, it makes sense to do something in your community if you've got the right skill set. But from my experience, I mean, I don't want to put a down on hiring local talents, but my experience, there's a lot less headaches in certain jobs by having people from overseas. But what you don't have is necessarily a deep-rooted loyalty, because you don't know them that well. They just get paid. So
that's a great question to put to the community. What do you think? Guys? It's a good idea for Stefan. I mean, in hiring people, because as you can see, Dave and I have different. I mean, they're not conflicting. I think they're both complementary answers. But I mean, what would be your thoughts? We would love to know. Please write it down right now here in the on the comments section.
I'd love to know that. I think a lot of our answers are shaded by the places that we're in. So right now, the US is being hit badly by unemployment. So I can understand why you want to re-employ people, because it's very important. In Dubai, because we're still in lockdown, we don't really know what's going on. We haven't talked to anybody. We haven't really got figures and facts, because Dubai is effectively such a transient place, because the majority of the people are expats. There'll be a lot of people who've lost their jobs, but still in lockdown. There's no flights out. At least very few for people who want to be repatriated. And so it's a hidden number for us. We don't really know where those people, who's working and who's not working. And we won't do until the dust settles and everybody steps outside and sees where they are. So it's going to be an interesting thing. But what's happening in other countries, I have no idea. I'd love to know.
Yeah, before we continue with the questions, we have here Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with, let's see what's going on in LA. over there. So let's see what the Rock has to share.
Down as we are here on this Sunday, and I didn't want this week to go by without raising a Terramana toast with you guys all around the world. This toast, as I raise this glass, goes to us continuing to experiencing this thing together. And as always, us doing our best to try and find a little silver lining in this whole thing. So to all you guys around the world, I raise this Terramana toast to you. Cheers. That's good. Most important thing, as always, stay healthy and stay safe. And yes, I'm going to destroy this entire pan of pasta because it's cheat day. So enjoy your cheat day, stay healthy, and mana.
Wow. As much as I love him, I hate him. He looks amazing, and he's been in lockdown for 2 months, and he still looks like a sock that's full of potatoes. I just look like a potato.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great to see that he's also having his cheat day. I mean, I've been having cheat day 7 days a week.
Yeah, I've been having not just day, it's like night and midnight snacks and all sorts going on. It's terrible. We have to sort this out. My wife said to me today that I can go out on my bike again. For the first time in 2 months, I can get on my bike. And I don't even know if my muscles that ride bikes work anymore. I'm just going to fall over and bruise myself. So I might look at the bike for about another week before I actually take it out anyway, just to be on the safe side.
That's weird. Let's see. We have another message from Sahil there in Dubai. Which is right now, he's going to be sharing with us some sort of advice there. So let's go to Sahil. Sahil, tell us what's going on.
Thank you, Dave and Ernesto. This is Sahil reporting from Dubai. Feeling very blessed right now, being able to spend some time outdoors with this lovely garden, especially during these times of lockdown when I'm not allowed to leave the house compound. I'm going to share with you one tip that I practice on a daily basis that can help you during these times. Stay fit and healthy. Every time I get a phone call, I just start walking. I'm walking around the house, I'm walking outside, I'm just walking. It's shocking how many steps I'm actually getting in just by walking while being on the phone, especially when I'm on the phone for at least 2-3 hours a day. For more tips, you can follow me on Instagram. My hashtag is decluttering.coach. This is Sahil Mehta reporting for the Toilet Paper Diaries. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Sahil. So hold on, let's get this. He's walking on the phone for 2 to 3 hours. What's his phone bill going to be like if he's on 2 to 3 hours every day?
Well, you know, I have a problem with that because I cannot walk and talk at the same time. I mean, I am absolutely a male on that. I mean, they say, well, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be doing. For me, if I get a call and I am walking, I have to actually stop and talk. I mean, my brain doesn't have the capacity of actually talking and speaking at the same time.
I'll never ring you while you're in the car again. I hate to think you pulled over to the side of a road and you're chatting away for 3 hours. That's really bad. What about chewing and breathing? Are you any good at that?
Chewing and no, I mean, I cannot walk and chew also at the same time. I have to stop. I can only do one thing at a time. That's it.
Wow. I never thought you'd have a problem with eating, but I stand corrected. That's fantastic. Well, maybe that's your answer. Maybe during the lockdown, we should just be walking around the house and that would alleviate all the biscuits. Yeah, Sahil, good luck with that. Excellent. Nice to have him walking around. Looks very quiet where he is. I think that's his own personal swimming pool.
Yeah, that's cool. We have another message from Alex Niem. Alex. He's a super expert in. I mean, if you're talking about joint ventures, if you're talking about high ticket sales, if you're talking about great connectors, Alex is fantastic on that. So if you make sure to connect with him, his name is Alex Niem. So Alex, what do you have to share? He is in West Houston, so we are in the same city but in complete different sites. So Alex, tell us about what's going on.
Hey, this is Alex, and this is a short, simple exercise you can do to start out each morning great, all right? It's called the Maui exercise. So just as you're getting out of bed and just as you're planting your feet on the ground, just tell yourself, this simple mantra, okay, that today's going to be a great day. And then what it does, it starts off your intention very positively. And then also it gives you, it's something that's very simple to do. And it's, it doesn't require any reminder. And once you make this a habit, like I have, you'll find that most of your days are going to end up being great because that's how you started with that intention. All right. So again, it's called a mouth exercise. Try it tomorrow, and then I'd love to hear, what your experience is.
There you go. I completely buy into that, Alex, by the way, because you and I know about the reticular activatory system, which is a part of your brain that is interested in visions. And it basically, you can program your brain by having images. That's how a vision board works. So if you start off by first thing in the morning saying, gonna have a wonderful day, then you program your mind to be able to start looking for that to be a reality. It's always going to focus on what you're interested in. So if you say, I'm going to have a terrible day, that's what it's going to look for, examples, because the boss has said, I'm having a terrible day. So programming a day from the up when you wake up first thing makes a lot of sense. Buy into that. Thank you.
Great advice, Alex. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Clementine from Portugal is asking, what will be the mental and emotional damage from the lockdown? Holy moly, that's a really loaded question. A lot of people live alone, which is fine until you're banned from face-to-face human contact. What will speed the recovery? Do you see a growth in online help and counseling?
Yes to all the above. Do you want to take this first, or shall I get stuck into it?
Well, I believe that it is already happening. I mean, right now, the online medicine, or the telemedicine, I think that it's called. My brother is a doctor, and for a number of weeks, he's been only seeing patients through a collective system. In fact, tomorrow, I'm going to be sharing one tool, which is, this for me was a huge discovery. Next week, we're going to be doing Renaissance. And as Dave was saying, well, we want to call it Renaissance because we want to make sure that people see the art in reinvention. And that's basically what it is all about. But right now, there's a company that is called StubHub. And StubHub used to sell tickets. So, for example, let's say that you purchase tickets to go to a football game or to a basketball game, to a baseball game, and then you couldn't go. You couldn't sell your tickets back. And they will sell them for you. So it's different than Ticketmaster, but it's actually and it's also not something that you can resell them very expensively, but it is something that you can sell your tickets if you were not going to be able to participate in the event or whatever. Well, right now, the same thing has completely reinvented themselves so that everybody could go online. So now think about, if these guys, which have a model that it was selling something that needed to happen on an event, they already know that the event industry is not going to move forward, even if we're out of lockdown. Same thing is going to be happening. Same thing is going to be happening for many other industries, including the medicine industry, including the counseling industry, including everything. And absolutely, I think, once again, we were mentioning that there were two skills that people need to master. I mean, one is the communication to camera, which is something that you really need to master. It's really something that you really need to start looking on. And second, yes, absolutely, I believe very strongly that more and more we're going to be communicating through a screen as we're doing it right now.
I want to share something. Bear with me for just 30 seconds while I go and get something that was given to me today.
Okay, let's just go. Oh, he's back.
That's a beautiful song. I have no idea what it was. Probably a theme from Titanic. I was sent this today. Excuse me. By a company called...
you have no coronavirus, I hope.
No, well, if I have, you can't catch it from a screen. So don't you worry about it. Okay. So I was sent this by a company called Tradeling out of the blue. And let me just show you what's in it, because I think it really it encapsulates the things we've talked about empathy. So in here, you get a lovely little letter from Mohammed Shabib, who's the CEO of the company. But inside, I've messed it up a little bit. You've got sanitizer. You've got a thermometer for checking your temperature. You've got a cup that says "Stay safe" on it. You've got masks. You've got gloves. And you've also got some Chewy bar, unless my daughter's stolen it. No, it's still in here. And that was sent free of charge, just as a gift to me today, with a message to stay safe. Not asking for any money, not asking for anything, but it's just sending it out to people. And I think that's exactly what is missing from what you've experienced today, when you got on to talk to a couple of people who, as you said, and we shouldn't say the phrase, but became assholes again, because they've now started to see the daylight. What you really need to do is let that empathy run a little bit longer. If you turn around and start chasing the cash and start saying me, you're going to end up upsetting a lot of people. So that's beautiful. And thank you to Mohammed for that. I think to answer that question, I think you're going to see a lot more helplines opening up. People, I'm doing a session with a big oil company, and they were saying that the biggest fear that they have is they've got a lot of staff who are living on their own, and they watch the news, and they're just absolutely paranoid about anything going on. So, for instance, one person went in to get tested because one of their friends had caught something. They came away with negative results, so they're fine. But now they're at home. They don't want to order in food in case it's infected. They're checking their house out all the time. And it's a mental issue that's been created because of the fear that's been created by all the news and all the stuff that's going around. I think it's going to be a big issue. And in the same way as after certain wars, like the post-traumatic stress disorder that hits people after coming back from Afghanistan or Iraq or Vietnam or whatever, I think you're going to find that this is a big issue for people, especially if they've been in lockdown on their own. Spending that much time on your own is a big issue. It really is. I mean, the classic phrase from, I think it was the army, say that it all comes in threes. You've got to have oxygen in 3 minutes. You can go, that's right, you can go for up to 3 minutes without oxygen, go up to 3 days without food, without water, I think it is, and then 3 days without.
I think it's 24 hours without water. I mean, the water you have to drink all the time, but anyway.
Sure, it's threes. I can't remember what the exact threes are, but I think that they said something like 3 weeks without human company. And people are going now for 2 months without human company. And that's got to be incredibly brutal. Okay, hopefully they're on their phones and they're still doing it digitally, but there's something about a hug. There's something about physically seeing somebody and spending space and time close to them that you can't replicate. And I'm lucky I've got my dogs buzzing about, and I've found out I'm probably allergic to my dogs because I've spent so much time with them for the last 2 months. I've got my wife, I've got my daughter, and we can have arguments, we can have fun, we can play Scrabble, but it's that ability to be interactive. And I think that a lot of people are going to have challenges. And I'm going to bring out another hypnosis audio to share for people who are finding it hard to be on their own. I'll bring that out in the next couple of days, and we'll launch it properly on this show in the next couple of days as well. It'll be a gift.
And this is exactly the reason why we started the show in the first place, because we knew that this was going to be a big issue. I mean, we have been growing the viewership, and I hope that you actually feel that Dave and I are. I mean, this is just, we are doing this out of understanding how people are suffering right now. I mean, of course, it's a tough thing, but we want to make sure that, well, you know, as we're having our drinks, we're having a little bit of fun. We're teaching you some stuff. We're showing you some great videos. I mean, that's exactly the purpose of what we have created. So, I mean, do yourself a favor and do us a favor. I mean, if you know people, please make sure to share this video. Share it right now. If you're watching the show right now, share it. If you're watching the video, the replay, share it. Because, of course, I mean, we all know that we need a hand. We need interaction. We need love. We need care. And this is exactly the reason why we are doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, should I read the next one?
Please.
Let's see. Stacy from Austria. 3 questions. You're only allowed one, Stacy, but we might let you off of this, even though it's pushing for some time. All right, first question. I'll just read all 3 and then we can go through them. What equipment do I need for my own web TV show? I'm into hair and makeup. As you can see, Ernesto and I are not. Question 2, which platform do you require? Well, Ernesto especially. Which platform do you recommend for streaming live? And the third question, should I use it as a prime tool to sell my products? I'm going to throw all this at Ernesto because Ernesto is a genius at this stuff. He spent a lot of time studying it, and it means that I can just go and drink my tea and my Avengers mug. Look at that, the Avengers. Black Panther, how cool is that? Okay, sorry, up to you, Ernesto.
Yeah, that is That is really kind from you, Dave. throw me into the lion's den. No problem, Stacy. Thank you very much for your questions. Well, first of all, let me just see what are you look at, Stacy, right, from Austria. What equipment do I need for my web TV show? Well, first of all, before you start thinking of equipment, and I think that's just the most important thing, is you need to decide when you're going to be doing your web TV show, because a web TV show needs to be treated like if you are a broadcaster. It just shouldn't be, well, I'm going to do a show whenever I feel like. You need to treat it with a schedule. As we go at 9 o'clock 9 p.m. Dubai time, 12 o'clock Central Time in the United States. And that's the most important thing. How long is it going to be? We started testing. We started testing, and then we said 20 minutes. For the amount of talk that Dave and I do, 20 minutes was just not enough. So it depends on what you're going to be actually covering and what you're going to be doing. So we figured out that about 45 to 50 minutes was good enough. We get people to connect. People watch the show. It depends on also how entertaining your content is, because of course if you do long programs and your programs are very boring, then people are not going to watch it. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Now, what do you need? You can just do your phone. Your phone is great. Buy yourself a nice one of those round lights so that you can actually have good light, so you can see. I have very nice warm light. I see I'm very clear. Dave is using a different kind of light. But you can see the difference between one and one.
Well, if I switch mine off, then that's what I look like without the lights on.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to get them right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, to people, it'll just make it look like you're unprofessional and you haven't made the effort. Yeah,
correct. So you need a little bit of light. That's I think the most important thing. Or if not, just get yourself an HD camera if you're going to be transmitting from your computer. So that's basically what you require. Also, your iPad is fantastic to do recordings. Learn how to do video editing, which it's also great, so that you can actually include some videos and stuff. Then the second question that you're asking me, what platform do you recommend for streaming live? Once again, the platform is irrelevant. What you need to know is exactly what you're going to be doing. Right now we're doing a very straight forward show where we are basically sharing a lot of different videos and all sorts of things. If you're going to go and do that kind of sophistication, there's two choices: Be Live TV, or the other one is StreamYard. Those are great choices. They're not cheap, but also they're not that expensive, so that you can also use them. But you can use several other things that you can do without really having to worry too much about it. And then shall I use it as a prime tool to sell my products? Yeah, that's a tough question. What I would say, as you see here, we are not selling. Our goal is not selling. Our goal is building community. And this is one of those things that I want people to understand. Build community, not followers. Build a community, not followers. Dave said something very powerful yesterday, and I actually mentioned it unknowingly. It was not my intention, but I said, well, I would like to thank Frank because he's one of our regular viewers, or I would like to ask such and such because he's one of our followers. And he said, no, we should not say any more followers or viewers. We have to say friends. And this is exactly what our goal is, basically creating community. So whenever you're going live, the idea of actually going live, at least in my eyes, is to create community. Later on, of course, if people start following you and they start believing on you, sales will come. You will make money. This is right now a time to plant. This is a time to put all the seeds, and then later on you can monetize. I hope that answers your question, Stacy.
That's a great answer. One of the things that Stacey seems to be tapping into is the ability to become an influencer by having a TV show. And certainly I do believe that you can do that. But right now, influencers are finding themselves on the breadline because nobody's sponsoring shows. Nobody's sponsoring with excess money because nobody's got any. or if they have got it, they're certainly not putting it into this kind of advertising. So when you consider that billboards, magazines, newspapers, the traditional ways, TV, radio would be the ways that people would normally get their information, as well as advertising on the internet, this is a very strong way to get your message across. So if you wanted people to start liking you, knowing you, trusting you, respecting you, and connecting with your brand, a TV show is a great way to do it. So I would always recommend it. I've just actually got interesting questions to throw us in here. And it says a speaker, Mike Tolan again, has just said, have you considered having 100 participants at once where everybody can be seen and asking us questions live? I don't think I'd want to be thrown to the lion's den like that, Ernesto. What about you?
No,
I don't fancy that.
Well, that's one of the reasons why for me, Zoom and these kind of platforms, not only Zoom, are a bit of a challenge, because those are for communication purposes. Right now, we are broadcasting, and we are being interactive with people. I mean, you're asking questions, we're answering questions, we're having all these conversations, we're being seen in multiple platforms. And it is a great way to communicate with people. I mean, we are right now following a broadcasting model and not a webinar model, and we're not following a Zoom meeting model. I mean, this is different. What you need to understand is that every single tool is different, and what is it going to be for, and what's going to be the purpose of why you're doing this web TV show kind of thing. Right now, this format, we're doing it because very soon we're also going to be in OTT television. OTT is over-the-top television, so possibly you're very familiar with Hulu and Netflix and all these different networks. And if your goal is to start with the web, because of course it's free, and then you prove yourself to be enough to actually go into the real networks, this is the way to do it. But you need to decide, Stacy, what is exactly what you want to do. And I understand that you're saying, well, I want to sell. But remember, people at this point in time, I mean, some of them, which are a little bit more awake than others, are saying, well, now's the time for me to go out and start selling like crazy. I still believe that we still need to be in the nurturing the wounds zone. Later on might be the point of going out, but right now I think this is where we are at the moment.
I think so. I agree with you, but I think that might change in the next couple of days, depending on how many people come out of lockdown and start going full-on commercial in your face. Because if that's the case, then everyone's going to start doing it. So we shall see. It might be a gold rush. It might end up being like the Roaring *20s. We'll just see.
Well, I mean, the wounds cannot be healed in 48 hours. So, I mean, people that go out too fast in their message, they're going to, I have the feeling that they're going to crash on their face. Anyway, we have very short time, and I would like to take at least one or two more questions. So let's go with Mark from Paris, asking, I'm considering a move once the travel ban is lifted. Are we better to be associated with big countries or little countries in the new economy? Wow, that's a great question.
Wow. I don't know. My thoughts on this, if you don't mind if I take this one first, Ernesto. My thoughts on this are, if you are going to create a business that's predominantly online and you like the idea of, like this, being in a kind of lockdown scenario where you do your business from a makeshift office, where you do business all around the world, and you don't really need to go out and do many things, then I would choose to be in the countryside or near a beach. Bar none. That's it. Or maybe on a mountainside. If I can get good internet, I want to have the most beautiful view possible to get my dogs to go run, play, and I can have some wonderful walks in the forest and the countryside, and then go back and get into doing hard work. If your job is one that you need to connect with people and do more physically with people, then I would come up with a different thing. I think we're going to see a big change in real estate anyway, which is that previously, it's expensive to live in the heart of a city, but it's cheap to live on the outskirts. But the best houses are always on the outskirts because they're bigger with more space. But obviously, if you're commuting, then you've got to spend more time in traffic. Once we start going down the 5G route of doing much more internet-based business and blockchain-based business, I think that dynamic will change and a big house will be a big house more than it was before. As to the country, short-term answer is, who's dealt with the coronavirus effectively? Who's told you the honest truth about it? Is there a good health service? did you see that the government in charge really cared about their people all the way through from beginning to the end? That's the first choice, I would say. The second choice is which country interests you. If you speak the language and you're interested in going somewhere and your kids will be able to get the education maybe that they want, the sky's the limit. I mean, I've lived in Dubai now for 25 years, 26 years, and I've never seen a reason to leave. I travel all around the world, but this place for me has been home, and it's been better for me than in many cases my own home country, which is the UK. I'm sure a lot of people who live out here from 200 different nationalities living in Dubai, and they're not living here by accident, but living here because they love the way this country treats them. So I think you've got to find a number of different things that makes it work for you.
Yeah.
Ernesto?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can also tell you my 5 cents from having visited over 107 countries. No country is perfect. I mean, no matter where you are, where you live, where you come from, no country is perfect. And as I'm not sure who actually wrote that song, but home is where I throw my hat, or whatever the lyrics of that song is.
Wherever I lay my hat, that's my home.
Exactly. I mean, I have absolutely no problem living anywhere. I am happy everywhere because I'm happy with myself. And that's one of the things that you need to take care of, that you actually have to consider for yourself. Just be happy with yourself. Wherever you are, there's not even one country which is perfect. So that's my answer.
That's a great answer. The amount of people that leave Dubai saying, I don't like this and I don't like that, and then come back again because the problem isn't the country, problem's them. They're just not satisfied and happy with the world around them because it's a direct reflection of what's going on in you. It's like if you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. Why? Because it's orange inside. So if you see around you disruption and a mess and you hate it, it's because inside that's what you're noticing, because that's what you're feeling. You expect the outside world to calm you down, and it doesn't work like that. So there we go.
Just to finish this Disruptors clinic, we have a question for Sarjan from Bali, Kuta, Bali. Will fashion and luxury goods matter anymore when this is all over? I think the luxury world is going to really be take a big hit. First of all, because of the economics. I mean, every time that there's a recession, or I mean, right now, even if we go into a depression, obviously the luxury goods are going to definitely be affected. In my eyes, luxury goods have absolutely nowhere in my life. They don't fit in my life. I could not care less if I am wearing a Kmart or a Walmart. Well, Kmart doesn't exist anymore, but a Walmart t-shirt, or if I am wearing a very expensive suit, because in reality, you know what, it is just ridiculous to a certain extent to be into that luxury world, and just possibly a stage in my life where I have said, you know, I have done some of this cool stuff. I don't care anymore. But everybody's,
you know what it's called?
So it's going to be different.
It's called being a dad. That's what happens. You just go, oh, I've given up. What's it? Does it smell? Does it fit me? Kind of. I'm done. I'll wear that. Yeah, I think with fashion, all the rest of that stuff is going to come back. I think it's right now taking a hit for not just the financial reasons, but the fact that if you walk around saying, "Look at me, I've got more than you because I'm really rich and famous," I think that's exactly the wrong message to send out to people. And that's really been reflected by the influencers and by the celebrities who had nothing to say. You know, the amount of celebrities that turn around and say, oh my goodness, I feel so terrible. I'm stuck at home in my mansion and I can't get out and see anybody. You know, I'm going for long walks all the way around my rooms and they just feel so empty. Oh, do they? What that is the world's smallest violin feeling sorry for you. I mean, I think that empathy is going to work. I think that there will be a boom in designer leisure wear that makes you look like you're scruffy. Really expensive stuff that you could wear at home. So you might be doing something casually like this. I mean, I'm wearing one of my Speak in Dubai t-shirts. Can you see that? These are very exclusive. Only two of them exist. One's mine and the other one's Ernesto's, and he wears it inside out before he washes it. I think that you're going to see a lot more designer gear that is meant to be just comfortable. I think that these Zoom calls and these sort of like conference calls are going to be the norm. You don't have to dress up for them because you're expected to be in your house. But I do think it'll snap back in because market forces will force it to snap in, but not immediately. It will take a little while before going me is going to be something that people like and want to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's very interesting. If you actually browse in Instagram, and if you're actually browsing in TikTok and whatever, I mean, you can see two kinds of celebrities. The kinds of celebrities which are just trying to do whatever they were doing before, and they're getting a ton of negative comments, and they actually have stopped actually doing those kind of things. And then the celebrities like Reese Witherspoon and like Drew Barrymore and like Mark Wahlberg, and people which are saying, well, we are actually partnering right now with Uber because we're going to be giving this amount of, I mean, all these guys which are taking their clout to support the world, they are really, their stock is really high right now in clout. But if you are right now to flustering, well, I have this and I have that and I have I mean, I've seen so many entrepreneurs that are showing, still those videos of them flying in expensive jets and getting in expensive cars. And I go, oh my God, I mean, these guys have absolutely no idea what is going on. So Dave, we are running out of time, but we should not go without saying that we are starting with something really cool starting tomorrow. What we're doing?
Tomorrow we start our series all about Renaissance. And Renaissance was a phrase given for the revolution that happened in art. And what we're doing is using it to help people to grow their business, as all this is about. So when we come out of the coronavirus and the pandemic and you actually come out of a lockdown, your business will be different and more successful. So what we're doing is using the ability to compare the Renaissance of art to the art of running your business as an artist. So if you're a plumber and you just change plugs and stop leaks, how can you use that as an art form to then separate yourself from the rest of the competition and be seen as a top practitioner in your industry? We'll be exploring that and more, especially the mindset that goes with it, in the coming 5 days. And we're also going to be hitting a special number, aren't we, Uncle Ernesto?
That's what I was going to say. That's what is very, very exciting. We're actually hitting 50 non-stop episodes.
Get away from here. That can't be true. That can't be true.
It's actually true. So so please keep an eye. And guess what? We are almost about to. Thank you very much for sharing the show. We're just about to hit the 100. We're right now in 96. Please make sure if you're watching live or if you're actually the recording, share this recording so that we can actually pass the 100 shares. And hopefully we will be able to go into a little bit higher numbers. As you can see, our intention is helping people, and we have incredible content for you.
And we've got some incredible stars. We can't mention who, but some stars that will make your head explode, who are going to be joining us for the 50th show. So if you think you've seen something, you ain't seen nothing yet. Stick with us. It's a Toilet Paper Diaries. This is the Disruptors Clinic on a weekend where we take it easy, we answer all your questions, and hopefully get you moving forward faster. Ernesto, you look beautiful. I love your kiss curl. I love the fact you've got this whole teddy boy look, and I think it's a tribute to you. In fact, I would say today you're the Mexican Buddy Holly.
Thank you very much, Dave. Also, your shirt is just phenomenal, and I think it's time to let everybody go, because for the first time we're actually crossing the 60-minute timeline. So see you guys. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Much love. Bye-bye.
And you know wherever I am, I'll come running, 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 to see you again, to see you again. There's been summer fall. All you need to do got a friend.